did they revel. They came after us, crossed the borderline, took all our offers to send down their mines, while the feathered beast read out dear Bob. So cried the trekker, this madness must stop. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty. The vile Kurogans fled and hid what they had stole. The orphan was shackled and kept in the cold. But he did not relent. The Turd King was hell-bent. He slayed the Kurogans, then to Bird's house he went. And with a mighty blow he struck that button red. The mighty bird folded in two by his bed. That's my epic tale, our champion prevailed. So let's drink a toast with some Romulan ale. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, oh planet of plenty, oh planet of plenty, oh. Toss a coin to your trekker, the great Turd of Stanley.
Making your way with the nerds today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from hating JJ sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to just get laid? Sometimes you wanna go where all the Trekkies know your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be in a galaxy where Star Trek isn't lame. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Death to Kuroga!
Indeed, death to Kuroga. Why is that up on the screen? I have no idea. What is that? Get rid of that. Alright. And I see the background's all screwed up because I forgot to move that, so let's fix the mess. Auntie's like, what are you doing? I'm grabbing my magic portal. That's better. Yeah, I was prepared. Alright, so Captain Cat was first, followed by DJ Odyssey saying first French, first Reich, and first to Goja Loja. Didn't need to know that. Cinnabon says hello, and all that was before I even started the live stream. Then Life with Matthew says, good evening, Anti-Trekker. You're up late, Live with Matthew. DJ says hi. Cinnabon says hello. Renegade says afternoon, fellow nerds. Afternoon is not the right word. It's about 11:30 here. What's shaking, says Kenneth. Well, not me, not Auntie. But Auntie's awake. Look at that. That's just amazing. Auntie is like, look at that. Look, she is like so awake. All right, here you go. There you go. All right. Alexander says, Josh says, short turds. Editor is coming out of the Hobbit closet. No, just meant that I'm not going to be on that long because I got to get up early in the morning to go to church since I'm working on Saturday nights now. And then after church, I'll be doing a live stream, and then after the live stream, I work. So Sundays are going to be crazy for me now. Let's see. Indy says, Bizarro Indy Tiger says, hi, bye. Bizarro Indy Tiger says, bye. Well, hello. Jaegerbomb says, good song indeed. MLP.Dealer says, oh God, you made a parody of that damn song from the Witcher series. Actually, I did not make it. Aberjam UK made it. And holy crap, he did, you know, that was an awesome parody. So he also co-wrote the Nerds song performed by Piano Dean that you hear that sounds like the Cheers song. Sci-Fi Nation says, greetings, Manchester. Kurogan National Anthem is the best anthem, and fellow nerds. Yeah, the Kurogan National Anthem is the worst anthem. You got it backwards. Charles Holmes says, hello, Anti-Checker. Got a question for you, Charles, and I'm sure the answer is no, but you would not be any relation to someone named Jeff, would you? Because when I was a kid in high school, I knew a kid named Jeff Holmes. So, just wondering. Death Dealer says, hey, Anti-Trigger, hey. Valor says, I was about to go to bed, but Vivian sees the notification. She said, oh, hey, the crap you like to watch is on. I was thinking, well, she isn't wrong. Well, thanks, I guess. Wow, even Anti-Trigger's opening credits are long-winded. Gee, Cinnabon, thanks. Actually, there's a reason for that. And while the song is a little long, and think about it, like if you go to Bird of Prey streams, usually you'll see like a couple of minute countdown before he starts the stream. A lot of people will have like basic countdown graphics up and some kind of music playing before the stream starts. The reason for that is simple. When you start the stream, the notifications go out, and people that like to watch your streams, that want to be there at the beginning, well, sometimes it takes them a few minutes to get there. So you make the first couple of minutes of the stream some kind of countdown and all that, and I just put an awesome song there. So shut up. Justin says, hey, Mike Richards here from Columbus, Ohio. Charles says, could go for some haggis. Indeed, haggis, whiskey, kilts, and bagpipes. Continuum is beaming I assume you mean in. Ryan says, hello, Checker, how are you? I'm hanging in there. Man, I feel like crap, but I'm hanging in there. Let's see, where was I? Then Continuum corrects us as beaming in. What are you doing, Auntie? Come on back over here. Everybody wants to see you. Yeah, come on over here. There you go. She's like, what, more treats? More treats? Renegade says, well, time's relative. It's 16:30 here. Well, you know, in here in the real world, it's 11:30. Continuum says, hello, Checker, and everybody in the chat. Say, Continuum. Wesley says, greetings, turds, birds, and crazy people. Well, they're not, I mean, turds, birds, and crazy people. I think birds and crazy people are kind of one and the same. Wesley says, what I missed, not a whole lot, just the opening credits. Number one Sci-Fi, did you watch my video yet? I have hardly had I haven't actually, and I apologize for that, number one Sci-Fi. That is entirely my fault. And in fact, let me cue it up again because I don't want to forget. Number one Sci-Fi. And let's see if I can find your channel, because of course, since your channel isn't huge, YouTube doesn't want to show it to me. Let's see, is your channel, no, let me see. Yes, here's the one with the Baby Yoda icon. So I see you got a Baby Yoda tumbler, very cool. And so I will keep that there. All right, back to it. Mr. Miles forever first, I'm forever awesome, and Auntie is forever cuter than Baby Yoda. Speaking of Baby Yoda, which is part of a balanced breakfast with a bowl of fruity holes. Yes. Well, actually, what's really part of a balanced breakfast with the frosted fruity holes is the space cow milk thing. Okay, time to start throwing money away at you. Keep Michael awake till 5 a.m. That's not going to happen. The Kuroga fire rises. Just Kuroga burns. Yes, struggling with my OCD on a video for a short part that no one will probably even notice. I understand that, like with Matthew. It happens to me all the time where it's like I'll get to one thing and I'll just want to make it look right. And then I get so hung up on that the entire rest of the video suffers. And let's see, DJ Newman, movie star named John Holmes, of course. Hail Kuroga, says Kenneth, he's in the wrong stream. Wesley says, what's going on today? Well, just got off work a little while ago, and I'm honestly not thrilled with my new schedule, but I got to deal with it. But yeah. Cinnabon says, I know, I'm just giving you crap. I know, Cinnabon, don't worry. We're all friends here. If you tease me, I'm okay with it. You know, I'm a big boy. By the way, did you hear about Kirk Douglas? Sadly, yes, I did. We talked about that the other day on the stream. But 103, if I remember correctly. So, man lived a full life. You cannot deny that. What happened to the DVR function on the stream? I apologize, Life with Matthew. There's, I had to do a couple things because we were getting spammed, and that kind of disabled the DVR. I'm gonna put it back on, hopefully, maybe my next stream. But it's mainly just because I've been, the person that has some of the most offensive usernames in history was spamming the channel a couple of times. Alexander says, I need my wrench back. Did you have a wrench? I don't remember you having a wrench. Did you? R.I.P. Robert Conrad. Yes, I heard you saying that on the other stream. I didn't get a chance to look it up. But let's take a look here. Helps if I spell it right. Robert Conrad. Yes, Robert Conrad, star of the Wild Wild West, dies at age 84. But again, like I said, when someone dies at a ripe old age, it's hard for me. I don't feel sad about it, other than, it's too bad he's gone for his family and stuff. But it's not like I was like, oh, it's such a tragedy. Like Kobe Bryant dying, that was, wow. That, didn't see that coming. But something like Robert Conrad or even, Kirk Douglas, it's like, wow, he survived all that long? Wesley says, did you see Bird's fantastic stream today? No, I did not, Wesley. However, Bird did, in fact, send me a link to the part where he fell asleep. My good friend, and I was thinking about showing that. My good friend Vince Mayer of No Budget Productions, aka the Coinstar Chronicles fan films, are here to say hi for a few. Well, very cool. How you doing, Vince? Vance, sorry. I can't read worth a crap, just so you know. Enter, Baby Yoda is a Sith Lord. I highly doubt that. WK says, Baby Yoda versus Michael Burnham, who would win? Well, that's an interesting question, because here's the thing. Like, Michael Burnham, of course, has the power of Mary Sue. But Baby Yoda has the ultimate power of cuteness. And so it's very hard for, even Mary Sue to defeat ultimate cuteness. And so, unfortunately, I think the universe might tear itself asunder before the contest could be decided. However, I have to give a slight edge to Michael Burnham because, assuming that the people from Discovery are writing it, she absolutely cannot lose. Eric says, hey, Trigger, how you doing today? Hanging in there, my friend. Sci-Fi Sith says hello. Life with Matt says, Enter, no worries. I'm mainly curious if YouTube was screwing with you again. Oh, no. YouTube has not been too bad to me lately, except that the algorithm, nobody sees my videos anymore, which kind of sucks. But hopefully we can combat that, but it'll take time. It just kind of pisses me off that they changed the algorithm to even more emphasize larger channels and de-emphasize smaller channels, and even though I know, people say, oh, geez, you got 13,000 subs, you're not a small channel. Compared to what YouTube considers, yes, I am. But that's wrong. It is absolutely wrong, because when people that are smaller content creators create good stuff for YouTube, YouTube should reward those people by recommending their videos. But instead, they're punishing those people for not having enough subscribers in the first place. Josh says, the Kroger's on fire. Let the fracker burn, mother fracker. Absolutely. Vod Mike says, speak for yourself, Aunt Trick. I plan on living forever. Well, you won't. Wesley says, I wasn't going to tell you, but I was the one who called him to see if he was still alive. Yes, Bert actually told me. And he said that he was very embarrassed. Baby Yoda soup. Yes, Baby Yoda soup is quite tasty. Josh Street says, Baby Yoda is being held by Mrs. Antichecker, being held by Mrs. Antichecker versus Burnham and Ray. Oh, well, Mrs. Antichecker and Baby Yoda as a combined force would easily defeat Burnham and Ray, because Mrs. Antichecker has the ultimate power of goodness in her. And then that combined with Baby Yoda's ultimate power of cuteness and Mrs. Antichecker's ultimate power of hotness can overcome even the double Mary Sue factor. Kirk Douglas made some pretty good movies, including sci-fi like The Final Countdown and Saturn III. Indeed, And that's the thing. I absolutely, Auntie, get back over here. Come on. Don't be wandering. Everybody wants to see you. Don't be wandering away. Fine, I'll give you a stupid dog. You want a treat? All right, there you go. But yeah, Kurt Douglas made some great movies. I'm certainly not denying that. I'm just saying that I'm not sad that he passed. He was 103 freaking years old. He was, he lived about as full a life as someone in the 21st century can expect to live. So yeah, I need to stop working 60-hour weeks. I feel you there, Resolute. I feel you. Sci-Fi Sith says, so what's next to come down the pipeline besides you, of course? Well, actually, Sci-Fi Sith, on Continuum Trek's live stream, we kind of showed a little taste of the next video that I did, which is kind of a riff, if you will, on Star Trek Picard, where I kind of point out all the little things that people complain about in what I consider a humorous way. And I personally think that my reaction to Dodge's statement that she is a fellow of quantum consciousness and artificial intelligence was particularly effective. YouTube is favoring promoting mainstream media channels over indie channels. So much for Don't Be Evil. Yeah, not only that, but large channels over small channels. So so a channel, if you have like 50,000 subs, 100,000 subs, 200,000 subs, YouTube is more likely to recommend you than if you have 500 subs, 1,000 subs, 10,000 subs. And that's wrong. I'm sorry, it should be based, the algorithm before made sense, because if everybody likes your video, it recommended it more. If nobody likes your video, it didn't. And it was based on the percentage of people. So if you have 100 people that see your video and all 100 people hit that like button, then YouTube's going to start recommending it, because they say, whoa, everybody that sees this likes it. And that's how, in a lot of cases, some small YouTube channels exploded and became huge almost overnight, because they were putting out good content, and because of the algorithm, they were being recommended. Now YouTube says, screw you guys. We're just going to recommend the channels that are either already corporate channels, like CNN and those kind of channels, or just really large channels because quantum. Today should be forever remembered, the day Wesley saved Karoga. How did you save Karoga, Wesley? Auntie is eating Beagle Bites. No, these are not Beagle Bites. These are actually Bird Bites. They're made out of Bird O Prey 5. Auntie loves them Bird Bites. No, I'm kidding. Bird O Prey 5 is fine as far as I know. I wouldn't have any problem killing and eating Baby Yoda, Ewoks, and Porgs. Well, Porgs, I mean, I'll tell you, that scene where Chewbacca was going to eat the Porg, that Porg looked pretty darn tasty. I certainly would have eaten one. Baby Yoda, that Baby Yoda's a little gamey for my taste. And Ewoks, only if they're prepared very, very well. And very few people know how to properly cook Ewok. Too many people think, oh, you roast an Ewok over an open fire. That is the worst way to cook an Ewok. You want to actually, you want to slow roast an Ewok in an oven, but you also want to make sure that the Ewok is wrapped in an airtight sealed bag. You do need to properly, of course, shave the Ewok, remove all the entrails, and stuff the Ewok, preferably with porg. If you stuff an Ewok with porg, I will tell you, you will never taste anything better. Please shout out No Budget Productions. Very good fan films made on literally no budget, so people can sub him and have yet even more good Trek to enjoy. Well, absolutely. You just did Forbes Sci-Fi Nation, so yeah, check out No Budget Productions. I don't know No Budget Productions, but it's got the ringing endorsement of Sci-Fi Nation, and that's good enough for me to know that they're at least better than Bird of Prey 5. Kirk Douglas survived the celebrity apocalypse of 2016. It was only a matter of time. Well, like I said, yeah, the man was 103. Love Kurt in the old comedy The Villain. I don't think I've seen that one. Multi-Gunman says, first, and how's it going? Hanging in there, my friend. I felt better, but I felt worse. They ought to make Star Trek series about an obscure character like Star Trek Captain J or Star Trek Okana from TNG, the outrageous Okana. I don't remember that one. Well, here's the thing, Darren. I don't know that would, I don't necessarily think they should just like do an Easter egg series where they find some obscure character that was mentioned or appeared as a one-off character in some episode. But I do think that, hey, make a show that goes to Star Trek's roots. Set it on a starship, patrolling and going on, just basically make like the original series or TNG without the preachiness and have some fun with it. Indy says, I think 7 of 9's character is not recognizable. Too much like Laura Croft in the sneak peek we see. Well, as far as in Picard, she doesn't really feel like 7 of 9 to me, but I haven't seen the episode with her in it yet, so I will reserve judgment until I actually see her. Is a red shirt promoting, is Andy Jenkins in a red shirt promoting haggis? WTF, mate. What's wrong? You got a problem with haggis? Well, they tried to call me an a-hole and all cops earlier. That's because it's you, DJ. I wish they promote my stuff again. It's getting harder to get over 1,000 views on my videos in under 5 days like I used to. It's annoying. I agree. MLP, it's like I was getting on those battle breakdown videos I did, I was getting like 20,000 views per video, which made it worth it because those videos are a lot of work to make. And I mean, we're talking about dozens of hours of work to go into a single video, and they were getting like 20,000 views. So I was like, cool. Then they made the algorithm change, 3,000 views at most. And it's like, okay, well, screw it. I can't put that kind of work into a video that's only going to get 3,000 views. I can't, and so, so yeah, that just sucks. And Trigger is poisoning Auntie by feeding her bird bites. No, Auntie's just fine. And I'm not feeding her bird bites. That was just a joke. They're actually Ewok jerky. Speaking of which, Renegade says, I heard Ewok made good jerky. Indeed they do. And that's why I recommend Nub Nubs. Made of pure Ewok. In the TOS episode, Bread and Circuses, the SS Beagle is the ship that Captain Merrick was on. That's true. I didn't even think about that. It would have been awesome if the guy taking Picard into space and Picard was Okana and not Rios, however you say it. Billy Campbell would have done it, I'm sure. Maybe so, Darren, but again, I don't like Rafi, to be honest with you. Not that I don't like her character. I'm okay with her character, like her being broken and all that. I'm totally cool with that. What I'm not okay with is that Picard would trust her above Riker. I don't buy that. I don't think that Picard was ever closer to anyone than Riker. Come on, man. I haven't accomplished much in my life. Saving Bird's stream was the one thing I have. Don't take it away from me. I'm sorry, Wes. Well, here's the problem. Kuroga is evil. Okana was essentially a template of the ace pilot Picard just hired. I don't remember the character. I'm drawing a blank. Josh says fresh barbecued stormtrooper is better than Ewok. Only like it's with Stormtrooper, you really have to know what you're doing as far as cooking a Stormtrooper. A lot of people, like the number one mistake people make is removing the armor. You absolutely need to keep the armor to seal in the juices. The problem is that when you also have to disembowel your Stormtrooper, or because their guts are just horrible, they ruin the flavor. And so it's a very, very tricky procedure, but what you have to do is cut into the armor at just the right spot so that you can open it up, disembowel the Stormtrooper, and then reseal it. Now, if you really want to get some good flavor out of it, then you want to stuff your Stormtrooper, depending on what planet you're on. Usually, you want to put some spicy stuff into it, some spices, depending on the planet you're on. Like obviously the spice mines of Kessel is the best place because that spice they get from the spice mines stuffed in Stormtrooper is delicious. Then of course porgs are great for, porgs make the perfect stuffing for almost anything. And yeah, an Ewok in a pinch, but porgs are generally better. See, Multi-Gunman says, hey DJ, and Trigger just went live. I did. Daniel says, hey, Trigger, what's up? I hope I can make it to Rational Roundtable tomorrow. I hope I can make it to Rational Roundtable tomorrow. Thanks, Gunman, and never sci-fi. When's he going to get the notifications? Sci-Fi Sith Dan says, how many major projects do you have until you're able to start again, watch SG1, and do reviews? Quite a few, Sci-Fi Sith Dan, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do it. That's why I'm experimenting with different formats on videos right now, like the one that I showed to Continuum earlier tonight, because I want to see what kind of videos can I produce in a decent amount of time, because my time is very limited now that I'm back to work, and still make it a entertaining enough video. The video that I made that I showed to Continuum today took much less time than, say, something like a battle breakdown, and we'll see if it gets any views when I release it in a few days. Darren says the only thing cool about Raffi is her hair. Well, I don't like her familiarity with Picard. Like, the fact that she calls him JL just pisses me off every time she says it, because, like I said, nobody should be closer to Picard than Riker. Ewok jerky is good, but lizard monkey jerky is the best in the galaxy. I haven't had lizard monkey jerky, so just saying, I don't know that one. And Sean, thank you so much, puts $5 into the chat, gets us our first super chat of the night. I truly appreciate it. Says, why did the Klingon laugh when Kirk shot him? Because his phaser was set to pun. Oh man, that hurt. That literally gave me a headache. I was like, Sean, congratulations. That was the dad joke of the night. Fleet Paw Swiftback is in the house, puts a $1.99 in. Thank you so much, Fleet Paw. I do appreciate that. And says, hey, Checker, didn't get notified. WTF, YouTube. Yeah, YouTube has been kind of sketchy with the notifications. I think, obviously, we got 57 people here, so I'm assuming that most people got notifications. But yeah, YouTube's been a little wonky with that lately. Tubian says Ewok stuff. Oh wait, gotta wait for it. There's Fleet Paw's $1.99 announcement. Don't get penisy. All right, so Ewok stuff with Porg, stuff with Baby Yoda, Eporgoda. I could see that, but here's the problem: is that you can't stuff a Baby Yoda into a Porg, so you really need to stuff the Porg into the Baby Yoda to make it work. But then your Eporgoda wouldn't work. It would be like Eyoda-ok, or no, Eyoda-org. Yeah, see, it's kind of hard to come up with a right good one for that. To be fair, Picard said he did not want to put any of the others in danger, so apparently he doesn't really feel as close to Raffi. But you see, I don't like that. That explanation makes no sense. Why is he, well, I can't go to Riker, Troy, Worf, and Geordi because they would say yes. Instead, I'll go to Raffi because she's a bitch. Huh? I mean, seriously, it doesn't make sense. He literally says that he wouldn't do it because they would say yes. So why would he go to Raffi if he didn't think she would say yes? I don't know. I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. And sorry, it's getting a little toasty up here, so I'm just turning down the thermostat a little. I have one of those Nest thermostats, and yeah, it's really good. Josh says, this turned dark fast. Well, you know, as far as the cooking. Darren says, outrageous. Okana's in season 2. You can watch it on that Blu-ray I sent you a year or so ago. The episode featured Terry Hatcher, Joe Piscopo, Whoopi Goldberg. I'm trying to remember. I remember when Joe Piscopo was on there, but man, I'm not remembering the episode. But I will try to, Darren. I'll probably forget, but send me a Skype every now and then to remind me to check it out one of these days. Alexander says, when are you coming to Oregon again? I don't know. I want to get to Oregon as soon as I can. Hopefully sometime in the next few months, because A, my daughter lives there and I'd like to see her, and B, yeah, there are other things that I'd like to do in Oregon that I can't do here because of legalities. So I wouldn't mind being able to do said things. So at least for a week or so. And so yeah, I do want to get to Oregon soon. Wesley says, to me, Turdistan is evil. Well, you're wrong. A spice marmalade. Yeah, a spice marinade. Yes, a spice marinade for your stormtrooper. Very good. Do you even know what the spice... Do you even know what spice is in Stat Wars? I assume you mean Star Wars. No, I don't think anybody really knows. When Rafi kept calling Picard JL, I was like, F you. Exactly. I was too. Cinnamon says, I really liked the video. I'm glad you liked it. And yeah, I think all you guys that watched it thought it was pretty good. But we'll see. I want to. What's really going to matter is what the general audience reaction to it is. I think people that see it will like it. The question is, will enough people see it? Valor says, cream of Baby Yoda soup with porg and Ewok chunks now being served at McSkywalker. That's horrible. But quite delicious, actually. The Ewok chunks in soup, as long as it's not taken from the feet, then the Ewok, because Ewok feet, very gamey, very tough. You really want like Ewok flanks and Ewok neck. That's the tastiest beef. I know that sounds weird, but it's true. To be fair, the trailer suggests Riker and Troy have a kid, so maybe Picard doesn't want to risk Riker having a kid having no father. No, well, it didn't sound like he thought it was dangerous where they were going, and he also, but the thing is, he literally says that he didn't ask them because they would say yes. Okay, so Riker and Troy have a kid, but he could still ask Worf and Geordi. And Fleetpaw puts another $2.99 in. Thank you so much, my friend. Antrigger wants the snake leaf. LOL. Try Portland ketchup. Yes, I would love to get some snake leaf. For sure. And by the way, I haven't seen Alexander yet because I've been meaning to, Alexander sent me this and yeah, I can't, I didn't want to open it and check it out until he got here, but yeah, so Alexander, I'm waiting for you, buddy. I wonder what a tribble would taste like. Better if they stuffed it with minced Edward. Well, yeah, you see, tribble it tastes like people.
Hello, world.
And so that's a fact. There's Fleetpaw's very delayed super chat. Thank you again. I don't know why it was delayed. Best if you don't overthink it. We're talking about modern day Trek writers. They couldn't write their way out of a wet paper bag. Well, here's the thing. Story-wise, I don't think they're doing that bad a job. Plot-wise, I don't think they're doing that bad a job. It's the dialogue that really, really sucks. And yeah. So Wesley says, when you go to Oregon, can we meet up? I might be able to get up there. Absolutely. That would be the plan. And that's something Mrs. Antrigger knows I plan on doing this, is anytime we travel moving forward, I'll make sure to announce it beforehand so that anybody that can be in the local area, like say it's going to be just hypothetically, say it's going to be in Portland in 2 months. I knew I had the vacation scheduled and everything. So I'd tell everybody, hey guys, I'm going to be in Portland in 2 months. So if you want to hang out with me, let me know and we'll figure out how many people we got and then figure out where the best place to go. Like Mrs. Antitricker's favorite place in Portland is Elmer's over on towards Jensen Beach. So we would probably say, let's go to Elmer's towards Jensen Beach, because that's her favorite place. It's actually in Delta Park, but that's her favorite place to go. And assuming, like, if we have less than, 50 people, which would be likely, then we could meet up there, have breakfast or something, and, have fun. He wants to smoke the space weeds. Well, the Oregon ones. Yeah, Rafi sucks. Emo Romulan boy also sucks. Reminds me too much visually of hipster Spock. Rios is okay, but his ship sucks. I guess we'll see how many accents he can do. Yeah, that's a funny thing. That'll be interesting to see how many accents he ends up doing. And Wesley puts $2 in and says, Antrigger doesn't know his Star Wars lore. You know what? They never say in the films what the spice is. They just call it the spice mines of Kessel. That's all I know. So, sue me. This channel isn't called the anti-Star Wars fan.
Sir, we are being hailed.
On screen. What is your problem?
I am lore.
Do you need help?
I have a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Lore Reloaded.
Let me guess, the rubber band broke, right?
I make YouTube go.
And speaking of traveling, like one thing that is absolutely true. Thank you, Chancellor. One thing that's absolutely true is that if I ever do get the channel to the point where I'm doing this full time, then I'll be traveling more, mainly to meet you guys. So we'd be very strategic about it as far as, okay, we'll go to Portland and then maybe go to New York and then maybe go to Texas, basically just try to get to every corner of the country eventually. And if things continue to grow, get to, other countries that like, Canada and across the pond and stuff, which I would love to do that. That's my ultimate dream with this channel, is to be able to meet as many of you as possible. That's honestly my ultimate dream. One of those things you want to do in Oregon is the lettuce of the devil. I don't know if I would call it that, but I would call it pain medication, actually. Andy Tiger says the episode is called Outrageous Akana. It's about two star-crossed lovers, and he ferries them back and forth. See, that sounds vaguely familiar, but I just can't remember it. Real men don't eat Ewok, they eat Wookiee. Well, Wookiee, the thing about Wookiee is that it is extremely gamey unless you prepare it properly. And it takes months to prepare a Wookiee properly. It really does. And so you have to debone your Wookiee because the bones in the Wookiee, as soon as they die, start to like leach into the meat, and it just ruins the flavor. So you have to freshly kill your Wookiee and debone it immediately. And in fact, ideally, the way you kill the Wookiee is through deboning, which a lot of people don't approve of that. However, Karoga has an entire facility dedicated to deboning creatures while they're still alive. So Alexander says, do a meetup next time. I can drive to Portland and we can get some drinks and other Oregon stuff. Absolutely. I will tell Mrs. Antrecker that we're going to have to get to Oregon sometime this year. Spice in Star Wars is very similar to Dune Spice. It's a drug that makes you have telepathic abilities similar to the Force for short periods of time, highly addictive. Oh, okay. The spice in Star Wars is definitely not a reference to Dune, which Lucas had never heard of when he sued David Lynch's Dune for copyright violation. Okay, I did not know that. Made from silk of a weird spider alien. If you say so, then why do you mine it? Serious question. I don't know. Why would you mine something that's made from the silk of a spider? And Trigger, what are the chances that Universal will buy Star Trek? I would say slim to none. Honestly, I don't. First of all, for someone to buy Star Trek means CBS would have to, Viacom would have to sell Star Trek. They don't have to sell Star Trek. I mean, it's not like you could just walk into CBS and say, "I'll take one Star Trek, please. Here's my $2.8 billion." It doesn't work that way. Now, if CBS were looking for someone to buy Star Trek, that would be a different thing, but I don't think they are at this point. Kami Alexander sent you something? Where did he get the money from his private sector job? Shh, let's not start a fight in case he comes in here. Every time she called him JL, I kept thinking about the deleted scene from Nemesis where Picard almost took his new Exo's head off for calling him Jean-Luc. Yes, exactly. And that's the thing. That is Picard. Picard is very formal. And for him to allow people, I'm sorry, that, as much as I like her character, the Irish Romulan chick, holy crap, would Picard fire her ass in a second the way she treats him. He is very formal. He is very much into, professionality. What is sexier to you, an executor class executor class super Star Destroyer, or one of the old Connies? Old Connie, hands down. The executor class is just big and bulky and scary looking. So I finished first season of Star Trek Discovery. I wish they hadn't done that to Lorca, i.e. made him Mirror Universe character. He was kind of character Star Trek needs right now, in my opinion. Yeah, Lorca, that's the thing. Before they went to the Mirror Universe, Lorca was by far the best character on that show, and then they completely screwed him. Death Dealer says, if you did that, I live in Wyoming. If you ever are out this way, oh yeah, you're in the state where there's like nothing except for Yellowstone National Park. And I say that because here's the thing: I've driven through Wyoming a couple of times while driving from Tennessee to Oregon, and when you drive through Wyoming, you on the route that we took, right? You enter Wyoming, you see the sign says we're now entering Wyoming, and then about midway across the state, there's this huge rest stop that is like, it looks like it's almost like a mini amusement park. This rest stop is so freaking huge, and then you drive and drive and drive until you leave Wyoming. That's it. There's like along the way you see nothing but flat lands and nothing. Sci-Fi says, come to Michigan where we got legal herbal medicines. Yes, there's a lot of places that have it now. I really hope Tennessee gets it soon. Death Dealer says, nah, real men eat fried porgs. Well, you know what? Fried porg is okay. It really is. But roasted porg is, I think, a little tastier. If one eats Baby Yoda, they can say they are one with the Force. Well, for a few hours, and then the Force will be one with Turdisand. Okay. Okay. Andrew, I'll let you drive my DeLorean. That would be freaking awesome. And I'll tell you, I would love to drive your DeLorean. Gotta love the imitation astromech droids that changed Discovery's register from USS to ISS. I was like, oh, give me an effing break. Yeah, the astromech droids in Star Trek Discovery were horrible. Not as bad, though, as the worst astromech droid scene was when, in the final episode, when the Enterprise was damaged and they were trying to repair the damage. It was like, why don't you just clip in the scene from freaking Phantom Menace when the astromech droids were doing that on the Naboo ship? We do know why Chewbacca is a nudist since his family wears clothes. Do we know why Chewbacca is a nudist since his family wears clothes? Well, because he just gets off on it. He thinks it's hilarious that nobody realizes that he's, actually swinging his schlong in people's face, and and so they think, oh, Chewbacca, why'd you bump into me with your arm? They don't realize it wasn't his arm, right? How could you eat a Wookiee? My adopted mother was a Wookiee. I'm triggered. I'm sorry, Wesley, but it's not my fault. Your adopted mother happens to be a species that's quite tasty, if prepared properly, and she would have to be deboned while still alive. But yes. Well, I know it's a virtual impossibility. I do like the idea that Seth MacFarlane wants to do a 5th season of Enterprise. Well, look, I love, and I know that Daniel doesn't, but I do think that Seth MacFarlane is very talented. I think that Orville feels more like Star Trek than anything that we've gotten since Enterprise. And in fact, I really don't understand why Daniel hates him so much, to be honest with you, because it's like Orville really feels like it takes place in the same time frame and same universe as Star Trek The Next Generation. Just on a smaller ship with a less competent crew than you see, because the Enterprise always, they're the best of the best of the best. And on the Orville, they're like, they're the average and slightly below. So it's not like you're getting the best of the best of the best all the time. And that makes it more fun. It makes it feel more real. But yeah, I would love to see Seth MacFarlane get real Trek. It's never going to happen unless Seth MacFarlane comes over and works for Viacom. Eric says, that would be cool. I enjoyed meeting up with you in Birmingham, Alabama one day. Birmingham's not even that far from me. I mean, I'm just up north in Tennessee. I actually met up with Reality Strikes a couple of times when he's driven through Murfreesboro. If anybody ever happens to be passing through Middle Tennessee, I know Ensign Ricky did the other day, but he was, it was like in the middle of the night and he was on his way home after his grandfather died. So, that's a little different. But if anybody's passing through, let me know if we can make it work. We'll at least have coffee or something. Let's see. Jun Wong says, note to self, Beald's secret hideout in Wyoming. Nobody will ever find you. Darren says, real men also eat bantha. Well, bantha, it's an acquired taste. That's the best I can say. I personally don't care for bantha, but, if you do, that's okay. So spice in Star Wars is the same thing as red sand in Mass Effect, or dust from Babylon 5, or space weed in Star Trek now. So yeah, there's that. And let's see. Fleet Paw says, if you ever get to upstate New York, I'll buy you a beer. Awesome. And if I ever, here's the thing, Fleet Paw, if I ever make it to New York, then you got to come with me to Bayside, and we will raid Bird of Prey's house. That's not possible since everyone moved in. How would that work? I'm not sure what that is. So you got to give me some context, or I don't know what specifically you're talking about. Darren says, I do want to do a video for my channel about my take on Michael Burnham. I don't consider her a Mary Sue. She's almost a Mary Sue. She does have one flaw. Well, Darren, you could do that on your channel. You can do anything you want on your channel, but you could also, I mean, I wouldn't object to you doing that on the Anti-Tracker channel either. It's up to you. But I think your Submariner videos are really awesome, and I think you should do those for a little while to get yourself established. Because I think you're going to develop a following with the Submariner videos. A lot of places have made it legal now, but we still have the best here in Washington, even if the good stuff isn't the legal stuff. DJ says, okay, I'm falling asleep. Good night, everyone. Good night, Mr. Unicorn. So the crew of the USS Crawford will be at the bottom of the barrel of Starfleet. And Zabe says, hello, world, an anti-trekker. Hey, how you doing? So I'm not on the world, I guess. Eat Sarlacc. You won't be hungry till 1,000 years later. Well, okay. When it comes to banthas and sand people, it's full of sand and it gets everywhere. That's the thing, is that, yeah, banthas tend to, banthas spend their entire life in the deserts of Tatooine, and they eat sand. And so their body is literally full of sand, and it's just the meat is so coarse, it's like chewing on sandpaper. And some people like it, but I don't. Mutant Green Panda says the only annoying thing about the Orville is that they do anti-religion episodes every 4 episodes or so. I agree. I think that Seth. Now Seth is a hardcore atheist, so it doesn't surprise me. That being said, I think that they push it a little hard sometimes. But let's be real. It's not like Star Trek The Next Generation didn't make Who Watches the Watchers, which is one of the worst anti-religious propaganda episodes in history. And so, yeah. And Fleet Paw says, Epic, my house is at war with his house. And I can't pronounce the Klingon very well, so I'm not going to try. MLP says, doing 5th season of Enterprise, what I meant is it's not possible. Everyone's moved on, other stuff, stop acting altogether. Well, yeah, here's the thing. I know people, and this is the problem. A lot of people want to see reunions of various shows, right? Oh, we need to get the Deep Space Nine crew back together. Oh, we need to get the Enterprise crew. Oh, we need to get Voyager. Well, nobody's saying Voyager, but they want to get the old crew back together. Look at Picard, right? And I'm not talking about the quality of the show. I think the quality of the production of the show is outstanding, even if the writing really needs to be fixed as far as the dialogue style. But look at how old Patrick Stewart looks. Do you really want to see all your favorite characters look like decrepit old people? Not trying to be mean, but, they're all old. Except for the ones that were extremely young before, like, obviously Will Wheaton is not particularly old, and I think Will Wheaton is the one guy that should be starring in a Star Trek show, and he's not. Daniel says, if you come to Canada, come to Orangeville, Ontario. We have Taco Bell. I got coupons in the mail. Me, you, and my mom can have nacho Doritos or whatever you like. Well, I like the Dorito tacos. Those are pretty good. So I'd probably get a couple of those. So I will keep that in mind if I ever make it to Orangeville, Ontario, which, of course, if I ever start traveling, you can remind me then. And remember, kids, eat... Whoa. Rhodian, it's nature's perfect food, and Greedo is a Rhodian. I've never had Rhodian, so you got me beat there. I've never had Rhodian. I've always heard that the suction cups were kind of tasty, but I don't know. Elite talked about Bacula, so it could be a different crew. I don't know. I don't know anything about that, Al. When the 350 scale model of the Crawford class and the Airwolf coming out? And whenever I can. I want to eat some Jawas and wear the skin of sand people. Wow, that's dark. Zabe says, hey, Tricker, Wesley should have stayed dirty hippie along, going on spirit treks across the galaxy with his older friend, the Traveler. Yeah, I understand that, but he didn't. And in canon, Wesley is back in Starfleet, so, you know, I don't have a, you know, Will Wheaton doesn't look like the nerdy kid that he looked like when he was on TNG. So I think it would be cool to have Wesley Crusher come back as a serious captain. Just saying. To be fair, getting old worked for the movies 2, 3, 4, 4, and 6, so I do agree about the folly of reunion shows. Right. Well, and the thing is that, like, Star Trek 2, the reason Star Trek 2 was so genius was they hit it just right as far as the age, because Kirk and crew were middle-aged at that point, and the central theme of Star Trek 2 was middle-aged. That's what it was all about. That Kirk's journey into it, and in fact, they didn't say it in the movie, but in the script and in the book, it shows that it was Kirk's 50th birthday. That's why Kirk was so depressed about it. And so he was basically having a midlife crisis. And, you know, his son wants nothing to do with him. His oldest enemy comes back from apparent exile to get him. Everything about his life is falling apart. And, you know, it's actually kind of cool the way they dealt with it. And, you know, but that's the sweet spot. So right now, you know, the youngest members of the cast are that old. Indy says, come to Northern Virginia, visit the Air and Space Museum at Chantilly. I'll buy you and Mrs. Aintrigger dinner. Oh, man, that's... See, you guys are so nice, and I know you would do all this stuff, but first, I got to get the channel to the point where I don't have to show up at work every day so that we could spend more time traveling. Because here's what we're going to do is basically, once we get to that point, then I will have, I'll set up a laptop and stuff that I can stream from while on the road with all the super chat animations and crap like that on it. And then we'll also, you know, be recording more videos so that Mr. Miles and stuff will be able to edit stuff while I'm on the road. Plus, with partners like Darren Wagner and Ensign Ricky and others that are going to produce videos for the channel will still have plenty of content as we're able to travel around and meet with you guys. And I think that would be so freaking awesome. But we got to keep growing. That's the number one thing. I'd prefer to command a shipyard over a single ship. I love building things. Well, you see, but that's in the future, you just do whatever enriches your life. Unless you're a filthy Romulan, in which case you can work my fields. John says, in the DS9 cast back together for a new show, it would be called Starfleet Retirement Home, going where no colonoscopy bag has gone before. That's wrong. Dave says, my mom and I watch Family Guy, and sometimes we see Seth MacFarlane talking to people in live action. My mom gets irritated when Seth MacFarlane makes fun of religion. Yeah, I find it annoying too. I don't, but I understand, atheists do that. They don't believe, and not all atheists do this, of course, but many believe, well, why should I respect something that's so silly as religion? And why, so I understand that perspective, but I don't understand, the lack of respect. Well, the thing is that, like for me, and maybe that's a fundamental difference between the religious and the non-religious positions, because from the religious position, you look at the non-religious person, but you think of the higher authority and, do unto others and stuff like that. And so you try to treat them with love and respect and stuff, despite the fact that they're being jerks. And if you're doing it right, now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying every religious person does that, because there are plenty of dicks that are religious. But that should be what's going on there. On the flip side, if you're an atheist and you don't believe in said higher power, then just do whatever the hell you want to do. And if you want to call them a bunch of idiots and make fun of their religion and stuff, since there's no higher power and everybody dies, they just face oblivion, who the hell cares, right? And that's a fundamental problem with having the conversation, because that's such a radically different viewpoint of the world and the universe and all that it's hard to have a rational conversation on it. Now, there are some atheists that I can talk to, of course. I'm not saying that every atheist is a dick, and I'm not saying that every religious person is good. Do not misunderstand me. Wesley says, well, you keep talking about eating sentient species. Why not add Klingons and Vulcans to your list? Well, Vulcans have copper-based blood, and it just tastes awful. If you try to eat Vulcan meat, you just immediately vomit. It's really bad. The Klingon purple blood is good, but only as dessert topping. It's very, very rich and very, very sweet. And so as a main course, it's just too much. You have to have just a tiny amount of Klingon blood sprinkled on top of cake. Did you know that Ashley Judd did a cameo sitting next to Wesley in the wedding reception in Nemesis and got edited out in post? I did not. Springtime says, how's it going, buddy? I'm hanging in there, my friend. Hope you're doing well up there in the Great White North. Well, not really the Great White North, but Alaska. Was it Alaska? I think it was Alaska. Or uses the Lord's name in vain. Mom gets irritated with Seth MacFarlane when he does that. Well, it's 2020. Most people do that on a pretty regular basis. Ms. Morales says, in TOS, they show Kalis as TOS Klingon, but because Enterprise, where canon explanations, flat foreheads came up in canon explanation for... come up with a in-canon explanation for TOS Kalis Flathead. That's actually very, very simple. The reason the Kalis in TOS looked like a flat-headed Klingon was because, I can't remember the name of the race, but the rock people that were staging this ultimate battle of good and evil, that was not really Kalis. What they did was they read Kirk's and the rest of the, and Kirk and Spock's mind to determine who would make the best candidates for being ultimate good and ultimate evil. And they pulled out of Kirk's hatred of Klingons, Kalis, and Kirk had only known flat-headed Klingons, so they naturally created Kalis in the image that Kirk imagined. Just like Lincoln, they even pointed out that Lincoln was perfect to Kirk because he was Kirk's vision of Lincoln, not actually Lincoln. So there you go, Mr. Miles. That's your in-canon explanation. Bam, I'm good. Wheaton doesn't look like a nerdy kid anymore. He looks like a nerdy adult, but he still behaves like a nerdy child. Well, you can like him or hate him personally. I'm just saying that he looks like he could be a captain, and I don't have a problem with that. A hut could feed an entire village. Yeah, but huts are extremely fatty and chewy and just not tasty at all. I think it would be neat to have a Star Trek show about a civilian guy with more than one ship, maybe 3, each intended with a different kind of job. Maybe one is an old bird of prey. I don't. But we'll see how Picard goes, because this is our first foray into civilian ships. Giving Andrew $1 a day, you can feed your Turdistani orphan working in the Krogan uranium mines. That's true. How about Klingon blood pie? Klingon blood pie. That's actually a sex act, just so you know. Yeah. Anyway, Mercer throws $2 in. Says, saw Jojo Rabbit. The shoe scene, wow. I've not seen Jojo Rabbit, and I don't know what the shoe scene is. No clue. June says, well, some atheists think because there is no God, it's entirely up to people to make all the good in the world, including being nice and civil to others. That's true. But the problem is that and like I said, it just comes from a philosophical position. If you don't believe that there is any higher authority, that if there's no point to, there's no absolute morality, there's no absolute right and wrong, it's all just a matter of perspective and all that, then if you want to be a dick, there's no reason not to be a dick. And that's just a simple fact. People can argue about, well, we want to do the right thing. What's the right thing? How do you define right from wrong? You know, why is being nice to someone the right thing? The right thing is whatever you enjoy. Now, not every atheist thinks that way, but some do, and I don't fault them for that because it's actually a logical conclusion. Rock people were the Excalbians. Thank you. I could not remember, and that I believe sounds right. Dude, I know you're joking, but you're making me feel sick. Oh, sorry, Wesley. Well, don't eat hut. That's probably why you feel sick. Hut does tend to, there's a lot of worms in hut, and yeah, you'll get gangrene. I want a batch of fried Andorian antenna. You'd be disappointed. Very dry. Very, very dry. I'll tell you the same thing I told John DeMarco. Kirk in the computer would have seen the ridge-headed Klingons in the database. Enterprise collected a lot of data on them. Well, here's the problem. You're wrong. Because obviously, they've never, when they looked in the database, they never once, they just didn't have ridge-headed Klingons. For some reason, and that's the big problem with it, canonically speaking, is that you have no explanation to why Kirk doesn't, like, even like in the Star Trek movies, right? Kirk never says, man, you guys all change back to bumpy heads fast, you know, when he was on trial or something. You'd think somebody would say something about the fact that the entire species of Klingons radically changed overnight, but nobody does. Tubian says, how do you explain Kling orcs? That's actually very simple. That's how you really explain it. But in English, what that actually means is that the Kling orcs were an offshoot of the Klingons created by the virus that cured the Klingons in Enterprise. What happened is, and Fleetpaw puts $1.99 in now. Thank you so much, my friend. The augment virus cure for most of the Klingons suppressed the virus, but they lost the ridges as a side effect, right? But it suppressed the virus and allowed them to survive. In a certain percentage of Klingons, it had a very opposite effect. Instead of suppressing the effects of the virus, it augmented the effects of the virus. But because they were so much stronger, they were able to survive, and you got the Kling orcs. The problem is, the Kling orcs were all sterile, and they only lasted for one generation, but a Klingon generation is well over 100 years, and that's why we have Kling orcs in Discovery era, but they've all died off by Next Gen era. There you go. Yeah, huts are fat, but that fat means effing flavor. Well, yeah, if you want the slug meat, I personally just don't like it. Andrew, if Shatner never returns, do you think George Takei might return? George Takei in his 70s. I doubt it. I don't. And the thing is that's the problem. They're too freaking old. Let them retire. Jojo Rabbit's about a little boy from Germany at the end of the war. Okay, I didn't know that. Atheists have a golden rule. Have the golden rule. Okay. You want to expound upon that? Trek Reviewer says, I think only DS9 actors that would make sense to bring back as the same characters are Esri, who's only 49, Alexander, who's 54. Well, that's the thing. Like, if you look at the youngest actors of the shows, then yeah, you could bring them back and have it make sense. That's why I suggest Will Wheaton, because I don't know how old he is, but I assume he's not that old. And just from looking at him, he doesn't look like an old guy. However, yeah, if you start like Riker in the scene from Picard, you know, it's like, yeah, do you really want to see that as the star of your show? No, you want the captain. You know, Picard was pushing it in Next Gen, and guess what? He was in his 40s back then, right? So that was pushing it. You want someone that's in their 30s because you want them to be old enough to where you believe they're a leader, but young enough to where you like, I want to be that guy. Let's see. Vulcan Alpha says, I'm a super ultra turbo double atheist. I'm a nice person just for the logical reason that if I'm a nice person, people just might be nice to me. Well, good for you. Trek Reviewer says, Anti-Tracker could also have a Sirach Lofton who played Jake, Ben Sisko, and just recast Jake. Play Ben Sisko. Well, why would you bring Ben Sisko is off with the Prophets now. So that doesn't make much sense. Well, Kirk and the rest of Starfleet already know about the augment virus cure, thus they never acted surprised when they saw them change. That I could buy, but then I don't know. But then why was, I don't know, why did they in Discovery? Why did they say that nobody knew what a Klingon, that nobody's seen a Klingon in so long, and they didn't freak out about the Kling orcs being Klingons? Out of curiosity, how do people react to the Klingon redesign for TNG? I'm too young to remember, but it seemed like a pretty radical change. Well, the change actually happened in 1979 with Star Trek The Motion Picture. That was the first of the new bumpy-headed Klingons. Now, granted, they look a little different than they do later, but that was the first time we saw them. And by the way, the Klingon armor basically stayed unchanged from that point on. Anyways, so the general reaction of Trekkies back then, including myself, was, oh, so that's what they wanted them to look like. That's pretty much it. And they basically said, well, the reason they changed the Klingons is because of advancement in makeup and stuff like that. And we just bought that. We just said, yeah, that's what the Klingons were always supposed to have looked like, but they didn't have the makeup and the budget and all that to do that in the old show. No problem. End of discussion. There was no worrying about canon. We just pretended that that's what Klingons always look like. If I could work for CBS, Paramount, Viacorp, I would make a canon miniseries that would show Scott Bakula, Archer, and the Enterprise NXO and go to the future 2400 and stay there. That makes no sense whatsoever. The golden rule is that do unto others as they do unto you, so an atheist doesn't want to be a dick to him, he wouldn't be a dick to others. Well, I understand that, and I'm not saying that some atheists don't follow that, but what I'm saying is that if you want to be a dick, there's no reason that you shouldn't. That's my point. And Mercer puts $2 in, says, worst line, Trials and Tribulations was perfect. Yes. Yes, they are Klingons, and we don't talk about it. I actually like that. They should have left it at that. Honestly, they should have just left it at that. Wesley's 47, thank you. Because Star Trek Discovery isn't truly Star Trek, it's Trek in name only. I know, it's Star Trek Discovery is a mess. If Will is so old, does that make Anti-Trekker super ancient? Okay. My understanding is that Picard was not supposed to be lead of TNG. It was supposed to be Riker. That's why XO led the away teams, but Picard was meant to be the king figure. Well, there was actually TNG was more of an ensemble piece than even the original series, and that's why they actually did a good job at having episodes that focused on almost every character. So there are episodes where Picard's hardly in it, right? And then there are episodes that are all about Picard. But honestly, because Patrick Stewart is such a great actor, most of my favorite episodes of TNG are the ones focused on Picard. The only Riker episode that I really, really like is Best of Both Worlds Part 1. That's just my humble opinion. And so let's see. And I see Midnight's Edge is here just as I'm getting ready to finish up. Good to see you, my friend. I assume it's Tom. Daniel says, Andrew, then could have Cisco come back for season 2 of Picard, and the reason he comes back is the power race that escaped the fire caves and are possessing people. Yeah, they could do that, but would it be any good? Probably not. That's the problem. It would be too contrived. And then you'd have to explain, well, why is Cisco so much older if he was living in a non-linear place? He should look the same, right? The reason you shouldn't be a dick is that others can be a dick to you. Well, I'll give you that. The golden rule is a reason not to be a dick, though. That's true. But what I say is like there's not a higher power like to say that is right, that is wrong. There is no ultimate right and wrong. There's no objective right and wrong. There's simply what you believe is right and wrong. And even then, like you're saying, don't be a dick so that others won't be a dick to you. So it's ultimately just for your own benefit. Which, that's fine. I've been here for a little bit, just chilling. All right, Tom. Well, Tom, let me tell you something, my friend. You're going to love my next video. You're going to absolutely love it. Why? Because I do the horrible, unthinkable thing of lampooning quite a bit of Star Trek Picard. And just because you're here, I'm going to even show you a clip because it's my absolute favorite part of the video. Let's see if I can get there. Where is it? It was the scene with Daj and the dude. Yeah, right here. All right. All right, so I got a clip here. You're going to love this, Tom. I hope you're watching. So we'll go to game screen so you can see it. And here we go.
A secret. A happy secret.
The way everybody obsesses over Daj's necklace, it's almost as if they read the script and they know that the necklace is some kind of special meaning, because really, it's not that impressive of a necklace.
Robotics or
Dude, I'm a fellow in artificial intelligence and quantum consciousness.
Yeah, remember how earlier I said when talking about Data's language that if you really want to throw the word dude in there, I was fine with that? Yeah, I'm not fine with that. It's not cool. Also, she's a fellow in AI and quantum consciousness?
Oh, a bullshit artist.
So there you go. There's a clip.
Yes! Tukarora!
Thank you, Chancellor. Always good to hear your opinions on things. Renegade says, Patrick's here coming back, screwed over the Riker character. He reached the apex of his character growth and was wasted after that. Yeah, if you're talking about after Best of Both Worlds, I would actually agree. The only TNG episodes I really loved the ones that focused on Worf and the stuff with the Klingons and the Romulans. Also, Cisco came back that way. So would my man Gul Dukat. Oh, that's true too. It's true. Morals are all subjective to me as an atheist, but I see nothing wrong with that. Of course you don't, because you're an atheist. Yeah. Yes, it's for your own benefit. That's what morality is anyway. You fear hell. That's why you won't be a dick. It's still for your benefit. No, and that's the thing. Actually, our pastor was actually talking about this. If you're a Christian because you're afraid of hell, you're in the wrong place. You have seen Cinnamon, and you've seen what Anti-Trigger looked like when he caused the Big Bang. Junwan says, morality based on a higher power can be dangerous, so what if the prophet says you should be dicks to non-believers? Well, then that's a pretty messed up religion. Just saying. And what's really interesting, and this is the problem with, and I'll tell you, I know this isn't the Rational Roundtable, we can talk about this tomorrow in detail, but one of the biggest problems with Christianity is most Christians do not understand what's in the Bible and what it teaches about how to deal with non-believers. The Bible's very specific about how to treat non-believers. It says, guess what? Non-believers aren't believers. Therefore, you do not judge them by our standards. Period. Midnight said, dude, LOL, that's good. I'm glad you liked it. And then JPez says, dude! Death to Karoga! Indeed. The necklace is a Venn diagram or 2/3 of an Audi. Yeah, that's why I said it's like the Audi thing. Dude, where's Anti-Trigger's rant? Oh, I'm sorry. Jeff says, howdy, how you doing, my friend? Tentacle says, Anti-Trigger, the word God-fearing share... The word God-fearing is a thing for Christians. Yes, God-fearing is a thing, but it's not your motive. And that's the thing. Yes, you should, like the Bible says, why would you, when it talks about fear, Christ said, why would you fear someone who can only harm your body? Be afraid of the person or of the being that can destroy your soul, right? That's more important. Now, he's not saying that you should be cowering in a corner afraid of God. What he's saying is that you have nothing to fear from your fellow man. When are you doing Rational Roundtable on Sunday? Sunday! Well, we go to church at 9. We should get home probably around 11-ish, and then I'll do it. So, yeah, that's the plan. And I will be exhausted tomorrow night, so I will not be doing a stream tomorrow night. Spring Dive says, the Captain Picard and Commander Riker was a leftover from Star Trek Phase 2. They were afraid that Shatner would be too expensive, and they made Commander Decker. Star Trek Phase 2 was going to star William Shatner. The only person that wasn't coming back for Star Trek Phase 2 was Leonard Nimoy. If the prophets became a-holes to lesser non-believers, does that turn them into the Ori XD hallowed are the Ori? No. Greetings, Anti-Trigger fellow nerds. Hail Kuroga, says Shomer, because he roots for the wrong side. Chancellor Martok has a one-track mind. Indeed, he does. But that's because he's such a good guy.
Death to Karoga!
I think most atheists don't worry about what others believe. Just the new militant a-hole atheists are louder. I agree. Most atheists are perfectly fine people. Look at freaking, Mr. Miles. Well, he's kind of a dick, but, he's all right. DJ Odyssey Anti-Trigger gets on you when you don't read comments or read them all the way through. Yeah, I know. I didn't say I'm perfect. Springtime says, I'm in Anchorage and early TNG. If Patrick Stewart were to leave, then they had Commander Riker. Yeah, I would have, and I know that, like, when Best of Both Worlds happened, it was really in doubt whether or not Patrick Stewart wanted to come back. And so, that could have been a big change, but it wasn't. Let's see. Sci-Fi Sith says, what are you doing with Mrs. Antricker on Valentine's Day? Going to take her out for a nice breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Actually, on Valentine's Day itself, I will be working, and I have no way of taking that day off. So I got her a nice present, which she will really like. And since she, I know, is asleep right now, I'll tell you what it is that I got her the 3 books of Howl's Moving Castle, which is her absolute favorite anime. And so I got her the book version of the Howl's Moving Castle and the 2 sequels to it. So I think she'll like that. I also got her a extra large t-shirt because she likes to wear extra large t-shirts like his night shirts that has the corporate logo for now I'm forgetting the name of the company. The company from Blade Runner that made the replicants. And their little logo that says more human than human. So I got her that too. Oh my god, great idea. What Gold Ducat escapes the fire caves. That's why Cisco returns. No, you know what? I don't want an old Cisco chasing around an old Gold Ducat. Sorry. Ori is pronounced Ori, sorry. Hail Turd. Well, you see, here's the problem is that when I see the word in isolation without the context that we're talking about Stargate, it looks like Ori. Hi, birds, turds, and nerds. Hey, Ozzy. Daniel says, ain't trigger. They are filming The Matrix 4, and they are filming an exciting scene. Okay. Are they filming it at your house? How do you know they're filming an exciting scene? For Star Trek Phase 2, they made Xeon to replace Spock, and Commander Decker was going to be the new first officer if money became a problem, and the cheaper Decker actor would become captain. I could buy that. I know about Xeon, and I know that the actor that was cast as Xeon, or however you say it, was actually the Starfleet commander of the Epsilon 9 space station that got consumed by V'ger. But the... And it's kind of funny because then they have that other Vulcan that got killed in the transporter. I'm surprised they didn't have Xeon play him. Well, the actor. I always like Riker better than Picard. I found Picard is a stiff shirt who is willing to kill his ship and crew before offending enemy aliens. Well, yeah, and Picard is a hypocrite and a racist, but I still loved his character. Anyway, and then let's see. I thought Jeffrey Hunter thought he was too good for Trek and wanted to be in movies. Actually, no. The reason Jeffrey Hunter didn't end up in the second pilot is because of scheduling conflicts. He was already in a movie. Mr. Ross says morals have no more meaning than morals have no more meaning to them other than what we choose them to have. It's kind of like money or language and just those things. Their application has objective results. To me, that is. Okay. Well. I disagree. I think that there is a deeper meaning to morality, but that's just something we're going to fundamentally disagree on, and that has to do with our philosophical positions of being a theist and an atheist. Tyrell, thank you, is the company. Yes, so it's the Tyrell corporate logo, and then it says more human than human. You better not forget our anniversary. If I do, I'll bet Mrs. Antitracker will possibly kill you. Oh, there's no way I would ever forget our anniversary. It's December 23rd. This year will be anniversary number 27. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up there, guys, because it is very late. I got to go to church, and so I have to get up in like 6 hours. So, yeah. But I do want to say, of course, as always, I love hanging out with you guys. And I'm sorry that my schedule sucks right now, but hopefully eventually the channel will get to a point where I won't have to worry about a work schedule, and that will be freaking awesome. And Mr. Ross says, oh, I know you don't agree. I was just explaining how I see it. Like you said earlier, there's no standard for an atheist. Well, and that's the problem. Because, and here's a big problem with that, Miles, as far as like when atheists and theists try to have a discussion, is we try to assume the standard of the other person. Both sides do this, right? The theists just assume all atheists believe that, just do what you want, and not every atheist believes that. Just like a lot of atheists will just assume that the Christian believes in some kind of fundamentalist young earth creationist doctrine, and not every Christian does that. And when you go into the discussion assuming too much about the other guy, you're never going to get anything out of the discussion. So that is a big problem. I'd wanted Picard to retire after the Borg. I kind of did at the time, but I'm glad he didn't, because here's the thing. When Best of Both Worlds happened, I didn't like Picard, because up to that point, Picard was a complete dick, a racist, an anti-theist. There was very little to like about Picard to me. After Best of Both Worlds, Picard became one of the best characters ever in Star Trek. So I'm glad he didn't retire, because we would have missed out on some of the best Trek ever. Not only Best of Both Worlds, of course, which, well, we would have gotten that either way, but we wouldn't have gotten the Inner Light. We wouldn't have gotten Chain of Command. Oh my God, Chain of Command. There are 4 lights. Dude. There's a lot. There's a lot of Darmok. There's a lot. I think Darmok was like season 4, wasn't it? I don't remember. But there's a lot of great episodes that came after Best of Both Worlds that never would have happened. And with Riker, they wouldn't have worked. Could you see Riker strung up saying, "There are 4 lights"? You would have been laughing. But Picard, man, it just hits you. The religious gets their morals from a god. The god told you to kill them, you would have to follow it. Yeah, but here's the thing. I reject your premise, because God wouldn't do that. And that's the problem when you say, well, if God told you to do this, but he wouldn't do that. That's the problem. So that's a faulty argument, because that goes against the character of God. And I know some people are going to try and point out something from the Old Testament, most likely, but you have to read the whole thing and understand the context of it. Jeff says, when is Rational Roundtable? So it'll be approximately 11 a.m. That's approximate. I'm not 100% sure, because it depends on when we get home from church. Because we're new to this new schedule, and like I said, I got to get up in just like 6 hours. So yeah, it's gonna be a rough one for me. Have you ever nearly forgot your anniversary? No. And because our anniversary is December 23rd, it's 2 days away from Christmas. When we come up to Christmas season, we know it's our anniversary season. The only thing that really sucks about our anniversary, why we got married on the 23rd and all that, and I think that's cool. I love the date. What I don't like is that I can never get our anniversary off, because it's 2 days away from Christmas. And so everybody and their brother tries to get that week off, and so I end up having to work, which sucks. And Tentacle says, wouldn't he? The Crusades. The Crusades were not a biblical order. The Crusades were from a corrupt Catholic Church, if you want to say anything. However, the Crusades also are not entirely Christians being evil, despite what you may think. Same thing with Salem witch trials, right? Nowhere in the Bible does it say to burn witches. You're not going to find that in the Bible as a command for Christians. It's not there. Right? But people did it. Why did they do it? Because of twisted people that were twisting the religion, not because God said to do it. That's the thing. When you say God wouldn't do that, isn't it you presuming to know the mind of God? No, it's me presuming to know what the word says. That's it. At least I didn't get one to die like some of the Phantom Menace. Well, that's, man, not going to even get into that. I don't even like when so-called Christian blames the devil due to their sins. I don't either, because you are responsible for your sins, not the devil. We found a witch, maybe burn her. No. Not unless the witch's name is Bird O' Prey 5, but that's, getting off for the night, going back to work. What does God need with a starship? Have a good one, Death Dealer. Mercer says the Bible condones slavery. No, it does not. The Bible says to be content wherever you are. Now, if you look at the Old Testament, there's some talk about slavery there as far as rules and what you can and cannot do and all that. There's a difference between setting up laws, regulating something, and condoning it. You will never find a commandment from God that we are, that slavery is a good thing and that you should go out and enslave the world. That's, not part of it. And you asked before, and the other thing is, of course, you have to take it all in context as far as Old Testament, New Testament, and there's a lot of stuff that, people quote from the Old Testament without taking into account what the New Testament does to that, because that would be like me saying right now that alcohol is illegal in the United States. And you say, well, that's silly, Andy Trecker. Alcohol is perfectly legal. Well, nope, because it's in the Constitution that it's illegal, which is a fact. It is in the Constitution that alcohol is illegal. It's also in the Constitution that that rule no longer applies, right? But if you take it out of context, it means the exact opposite. See what I'm saying? That's just unicorn Christianity, less like unicorn Islam, saying ISIS has nothing to do with Islam. I no idea what you're talking about. We found a witch. Baby Bird, here's a Monty Python quote. You fail, sir. Goodbye. Well, crap. I failed.
Making your way with the nerds today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from hating Jake.
Now, wait a minute. Mr. Miles then said, oops, I meant good day, sir, which means you failed at saying you fail, so that's a double fail on you. Ha! Ha! Gotcha.
AJ sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to just get laid? Sometimes you wanna go where all the Trekkies know your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be in a galaxy where Star Trek isn't lame. You wanna go where everybody knows your name. Turds of a feather flock together, that's what we believe. We know a place that's got you covered, a place to get relief. Wouldn't you like to say me poo? Sometimes you wanna go where Turnistenes know your name, and all Kurogans are to blame. You wanna be where you can see Kuroga go up in flames. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
You son of a bitch, Anti-Tracker!